Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are in the world. But thank you for joining us for another amazing and incredible Wakelet webinar. Really excited to talk today with you and with one of our incredible Wakelet certified trainers, Tara Tesmer, who's going to be joining us shortly to talk about the power and collaboration that comes about through our newly released Wakelet Workspaces. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Tara up. And Tara, would you like to join?
Hey, y'all.
Hi, Tara. How are you?
Here. I'm so pumped, you guys. This is going to be so much fun. My name is Tara. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm so excited to show you what we've been doing in our district with Workspaces.
And Tara, take a look at the chat. You see everybody greeting you and everything coming in. Do you see anybody that you would like to give some shouts outs to?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hey, Alex. It's so good to see James here, all the Wakelet trainers in the house, and everybody across the globe. I'm so excited that you guys are here.
Yeah, same here. It's a great audience. You know, it's a different time of day. We're trying to hit during our lunch hours for a couple different people. So
yes, and a happy Thursday indeed, everybody.
Yes, Friday Junior, as somebody once called it. I loved it.
Friday Eve.
I like it. I like it a lot. So we're here to talk about Wakelet Workspaces, and I know you, Tara, are a master at utilizing these in your district. You've been with us for a couple of years now, so I'm really excited for you to share and showcase. But before we dive totally into your stuff, I just want to talk a little bit about what Wakelet Workspaces are and kind of the reasoning behind what they do. And what Wakelet Workspaces allow me to do is it separates my content that I have here inside of my collection. You can see my sneaks wish list, loving my sneaker collection. And not that you need to see it, but there's lots of sneakers in there that I need to be purchasing. I have all of these collections, and while they're not necessarily out there for everybody to see, I have different workspaces that are set up for different use cases and abilities. So I have one that's set up as a classroom where I can share materials back and forth, much like you're going to talk about, Tara, and students can quickly have access to these materials. I can send them out as activities. I also have the ability to have a workspace where it could be for groups of team members who are working together. In this case, it's the Wakelet team. Why wouldn't we use Wakelet? So we share our sales and marketing materials here behind the scenes with each other through the use of our Wakelet Workspaces so that we have everything ready to go and shown. So it's a great way for everybody to kind of keep your content separated, have smaller groups, manage all of that in together. Plus, you get the ability to pull things in like analytics. So you can see exactly how many users and metrics are going on at your organization, whether it's a school district or a different location. You've got the ability to set permissions. So it really gives you this high level way of managing not just Wakelet, but how Wakelet's deployed and utilized across your location. And the best person, whenever they asked me about this, doing this webinar for Workspaces, Tara, you were the first person that came to my mind. And I know how much you love Wakelet and how much you use it. So I'm really excited to have you showcase some of those scenarios and use cases that you use at your school district.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Let's dive in. So thanks, Ryan. I love that brief overview of how we can just like get to Workspaces in general, because for example, I'm an ed tech specialist, so I help teachers do the amazing things that they can do with all of our ed tech tools. And sometimes our first step is rostering and seeing that admin portal and what does this look like in the back end. And Wakelet Workspaces makes it so easy to see those classes rostered, to impersonate teachers and support them on the fly. So I'm going to show you a variety of ways that we've been using Wakelet specifically in our middle grades, but also district wide. And let's start with that differentiation between workspaces, groups, what the admins see. So like you just saw from Ryan, we use workspaces to create different different schools in different like groups basically, or schools in different workspaces. So if I need to pop in, support my elementary teachers, especially in grade 6, our 6th grade is at the elementary, but they're still kind of in our middle grade bundle. I can quickly pop into those schools from my workspace dashboard or drop down list and support the teachers and see all the amazing work that they're doing with their students. I could even click on groups, and this is where I see my teachers, our teachers rostered. We sync with ClassLink, and all of the classes are syncing here, listed by how they are populated in our PowerSchool system. And so I can quickly type like first period or 1 Doherty, because I know Matt Doherty teaches first period, and find his class quickly. So I really like that from, again, an admin standpoint, just being able to quickly go in and support teachers within the groups that are within the workspace. What I see because I'm not attached to any classes, I create groups for all of my teachers and departments, and also for our Office of Teaching and Learning. So that's a big group of coaches, coordinators, superintendents, and I want them using Wakelet too, even though they don't have classes rostered. So alternatively, although I see this group of groups, teachers would see a list of all of their classes that are syncing, again, either with Clever, with ClassLink, you name it. It's all right there and organized for them by class name. So I can quickly go in and see staff within their departments. We can create collections together within those groups. And it's just a dynamic way to collaborate within Wakelet. In addition, like Ryan was showing all of us, we can see really rich data, usage data within analytics within the workspace dashboard. But we have an amazing CSM, Melissa. So if you ever need, like, I want more details to that, like usage data, I want to compare August or September of this year to August and September of last year. She provided me this beautiful graphic. I'll just leave in the collection. I geek out over this type of data. So it's there if you'd also like to look, but it's really great to, again, have that support and transparency of how we're doing as we're kicking off workspaces. So from a district or building level kind of focus to start, we do PLCs across all of our departments, and we have 2.0 or 3.0 and we call our PLCs impact teams. And although there's a ton of teams, it can be really easy to get lost in a Google Drive, to find clicking in all of the documents for each grade level, each department. And I just want all of the links for our Office of Teaching and Learning to get to support these teachers and their agendas in one place. So we use, within our workspace for the district, we have a group called OTL that I was referencing before, and we created a collection so we can easily access all of those impact team agendas, and then be able to, again, compare growth across teams in one easy view. We also use that same space for OTL to create district-wide communication channels. So for example, anything regarding SEL that could go K through 8, we like to make collections. And so when I say we, having that group within the workspace means that anyone who I've added to that group as a staff member can collaborate and contribute to those collections. So we open up one called Notice, Name, and Navigate, which is one of our SEL goals, and we can all get to work in adding and curating all of the resources that we'd like to send to staff. Because isn't it so much better to give staff one link than all the links in an email?
Very
And the
much.
power of having that in my workspace is then I can go back to it over time and update it, and maybe tell staff, hey, check out the latest additions to that same link that they have, that OTL collection, or that Notice, Name, and Navigate collection. Yeah, one link to rule them all, right?
I think what you just said is valuable too. Is like they're always going back to the same spot. They don't
Yeah.
have to find the link. You don't have to reshare it. You're not constantly going back and forth through email.
Mhm.
Finding the most up to date version. They just know to go to the workspace. And it's
Yeah,
right
and that's what I really like about this, is that, like, I tell teachers, like, even with Google Classroom, when we get to like halfway, I mean, really after the first trimester, and that classwork tab is just full of all of the things, but I'm getting ready for conferences and I just want students to be able to refer to their best work. bring them into that Wakelet workspace, that one space that's going to have everything that we've been working on to show off and showcase. And I'll reference that in just a little bit. Let me scroll past a couple other district related collections. And again, for all of anybody who's in that like teacher leadership role or supporting your staff type of role at your schools, I just find that having that group for our Office of Teaching and Learning to be so vital for that communication. And even for our professional learning, if we go to conferences and we need to share all of the different links and resources, we're having FOMO from all the sessions we're missing. We put it all in a Wakelet collection in that group. We also have our coaches work collaboratively to create tech sets or explore boards for a whole grade level. So again, going back to that one link idea, our coaches created this AAPI collection. They continue to update it throughout the course of the year. And that way, again, when teachers need to reference this for that time in their curriculum, they have that one resource. I also love when teachers create an About Me collection at the start of the year to show off like who they are in a very multimodal way. So we encourage teachers to create within their groups an About Me or an All About Me, This Is Us type of collection. And here's just a little celebration of why I just enjoy when teachers do this. And I very much like, I know this teacher so well, but I know her even deeply because of these amazing photos.
And imagine being a student, right? If you get the About My Teacher collection in the summer, right before your school year starts, or at the semester change, it just helps ease that uncertainty, right? You're going into a brand new classroom, or you may not know this person or have that relationship yet, but that just opens up, like you said, the SEL component. Like I now feel comfortable, I know what I'm working with, and I feel comfortable and ready to learn. And I think that's very impactful for today.
Sorry, I'm just adding into the chat. I realize sometimes my Woodridge jargon, I forget that our acronyms are not everybody else's. So OTL was Office of Teaching and Learning. It's that role specific group that we had within that that area that I was referencing. So digging into more of how we use workspaces. So at our junior high level workspace, our teachers are in groups or like kind of like subcategories so they can work together on collections that then they bring into the classroom. And our teachers are highly collaborative. So I love this example of our 8th grade English language arts teachers, and they start building collections together. And when they're ready to take that collection and move it into their classrooms, all they have to do is click on make a copy and then move that into their group for their class. I realize I might be buffering a little bit. I apologize. If you could still hear me, that's all that matters, right?
We can still hear you. Yeah. And talk about no longer teaching in silos, right? You have a whole group team working together, sharing the best resources and materials. I just think back, you got multiple teachers across multiple content areas. How great for the math team to share everything that they've got together, or the science or social studies. Many hands make it work a whole lot easier.
Yeah. And I think about like, sometimes when we think about where students, like some students have teacher A, some students have teacher B, and we want to create common experiences for these students. And so why not use a Wakelet group to house teachers together across that department to create those really great experiences so that we all have those common learning and teaching points. For example, our social studies teachers collaborate even across grade level. They help each other make tech sets. And so within that group, within our junior high workspace, they're building these tech sets and adding to them over time. And again, when they're ready, they just click on those drama dots. I'll coin Tish right there. Click on the drama dots, make a copy, add it to your Wakelet classroom group.
See, and I'm a northerner. I don't say drama dots. I say the dead snowman, the fallen over snowman.
Oh, I like that. I feel like, you guys are so creative, and it helps me remember what these are. I'll go through some of these really quickly, but in addition to teachers working together, our coaches create a variety of resources for coaching cycles. I like to house mine in a Wakelet collection, and then I place those in our Office of Teaching and Learning group so that I have transparency with my boss and I can show him, hey, here's what we're working on. Again, I think, again, this is like, it's like a portfolio for teachers too, we have to consider. Anytime we're doing some like professional learning, we create learning community groups in each of our workspaces so that we can have like Wakelet PD learning community, and everything that we're working on goes into that area. So we could give each other feedback on our action plans. We also like to do monthly check-ins with our department leads, like our English department lead and our social studies department lead. And we house those in the group for their department. So like you saw previously, we had groups for 8 ELA, 7 ELA that are just teachers. And we put all of our like our talking points and our agendas in those areas. All right. I know I'm going really quick through this. I hope we're still doing okay. If
You're
there's
doing
more
great. Don't worry.
questions.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's so many ways we can talk about Wakelet for class collaboration, but I'm just going to focus on how we get started and then how we maintain the collections within these groups over time. So at the start of the year, I recommend to staff to just get students on their Wakelet group by clicking on a template that the teachers can give them, whether it's a Wakelet activity or the students are making a copy of the collection, just to get into the platform and make an all about me collection. And even if they've done that year after year, we sometimes take a creative spin and say, like, introduce yourself to your 8-year-old self as though that's the audience of this collection. Introduce yourself to your future self. So it doesn't always have to just be a generic all about me. It can have like an audience focus as well. We also have our elementary schools working on student service projects or service learning projects. And what I loved about this collection that one of our coaches put together called Making Goodrich Inclusive, again, within that workspace, we have, like, for example, a principal who is like, well, I don't really know where to click around to find certain teachers, certain grade levels, and we just want to make a Wakelet collection accessible for all stakeholders, even our principals, to give feedback to students to see how they're working. So our coach created this Make Goodrich Inclusive collection, which had to do with students in second grade brainstorming ideas for how to make the playground more inclusive. Students responded in a variety of ways, using all the great Wakelet tools to make it really accessible for all learners. And the principal was able to get a link to this collection, look at all these ideas, and hit record himself to leave a video of what he thought of their brainstorm. So it's like bringing the full school community together within that workspace.
And talk about a project that like has emphasis, it's got meaning, it has real-time feedback with an intended audience, way more than just any worksheet could intend, right?
Totally. And my favorite part was just seeing students like take a picture of something they drew because they didn't know how to articulate what they wanted to say. Some could hit record, some wanted to type, but some just wanted to be like, I just want to take a picture and add it, or doodle on Canva and app smash with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what really made that so magical. Something else we love, again, to bring the whole, again, building and grade level together, our science teachers have a swab lab. And you guys that remember junior highs, there's some some areas in the school you're like, I really need to wash my hands after I touch something. We have the students swab for bacteria, and they take pictures and they add it to a class collection. And this collection of observational data gets shared with the teachers across the school, again, saying, hey, check out these student observations. And then they put their conclusions after they've gone through this entire observational analysis. So again, just a little humor to bring, again, school community all through one collection. And finally, projects and portfolios. This is where our district spends the bulk of our focus when we look at how our teachers and students utilize Wakelet, and really thinking about how workspaces and groups can help us leverage making sense of all these components when it comes to working on something over time, especially if it's requiring a lot of different tabs and resources. And in the end, it just ends up in one place, like one student collection. So a pro tip that I'm just stealing from one of our teachers, they have in their Google Classrooms, which is our LMS, they have a housekeeping section. And at the top, they just put links, like 2 or 3 things that the students need to refer back to over time or over the course of a project. And they drop a link to their Wakelet group for that class period at the top of their Google Classroom. So if they say like, hey, we're going to maintain our portfolio today, they can just quickly get to what they need to. In addition, I love a good portfolio plan. The portfolio course from Wakelet is a game changer. Highly recommend everybody checking it out. It's amazing. And I love the portfolio plan template that Wakelet has, and we give it to students. But again, where can they maintain that over time so the teachers can see? We have again Google Classroom, and we've got our Wakelet Workspaces. And depending on the teacher's comfortability going from tab to tab, sometimes I just encourage the teacher, hey, to have the student get that link to their portfolio plan and turn it in as an assignment in Google Classroom. So then it's like we have multiple ways to get to the same thing. And when we're ready, we could transition again to navigating just exclusively in that Wakelet workspace. But when it's something like these design portfolios that students are adding to over time, we just want to make sure that they don't get lost in the weeds, and they can just, like, I love how James says this, like, their focus is on their creativity. I just want them to show their amazing work and share their thinking behind it. And I want the teachers to be able to get to that quickly. In addition to just maintaining these portfolios over time, and that's like across the whole year, sometimes we have lessons that are strategic about a process that go on for 4 or 5 days. So the students just need to be able to go into their workspace, into their group, and find the collection that they're adding to over the course of 4 to 5 days. And that could take a couple clicks, but again, you could drop a link to in your housekeeping section or wherever in Google Classroom to that Wakelet group so that students can get to that activity quickly. I'm just going to kind of go into this section really quickly. I want to rewind the tape here. Something that we love, we love Canva. We love Canva. We love Wakelet. It's the best thing in the world that they go together. And so for our students in various classes, they're sharing their work. And instead of having to share in Google Classroom and figuring out, hey, how are the students going to see this if it's only for the teachers to see in Classroom, we have teachers create in their Wakelet groups a collection for students to then add their content to, whether it be something from another resource like Canva or adding their other Wakelet collections in there. And it becomes sort of like a gallery walk all the time now for celebrating all of our student work. This is an example resume from one of our Wakelet ambassadors. And I appreciated from the teacher just being able to think of, like, when the students go home, they're on their phones and they want to open their Wakelet, seeing it in that media layout is meeting the students where they're at. They can scroll through and see their peers' work really quickly. We always see like Wakelet Ambassador Love. I feel like if I'm on one of these, I have to give a shout out to the Ambassador program. We love being able to share student creativity and that mood board feel, that mood board design, and have them celebrate their passions. And in the back of this all, we're having students learn to share and contribute to their classmates' learning. And again, we wouldn't be able to really do that with a Google Doc full of links. We wouldn't know what we're clicking on, right? So having this one solid place to bring them always to come back to, bringing them back to that Wakelet group to share their learning, brings a full circle clarity of when we're learning in Woodridge, we're sharing our learning and we're learning from our peers. What you see here on the screen is just another way to use Wakelet in terms of having a collection for students to engage with, that now they're upvoting some ideas and some resources in the collection. So this is a nice, again, alternative for if you wanted to build consensus. You don't have to go to another platform for that. You can just have them click on any thumbs up in the collection of all the resources that you have here. We make podcasts a lot. But it's, podcasts are fine to make, but they're even better when you can share them with a wide audience. And so what we do is we create a collection in those teacher groups that are set to public. It's like grade 12 is that criteria we set. And so therefore the audience can be public for those collections. So the teachers gather all these artifacts, they put that in a public facing collection, and now we can let parents or other people in other grade levels listen to student podcasts from that Wakelet. Finally, what I want to just touch on here is the most, I would say the biggest win, or the way we got the most buy-in from our teachers with Wakelet, was being able to, again, share any type of presentation. So inquiry presentation, research that students are doing leading up to a big project, having the student collections in their own view, which you see here at the top, and then the teacher collections, the teacher creates a link, or excuse me, creates a collection set to anyone can add, and the students can copy all of their presentation work into that class collection. That alone has made giving feedback easier for the teachers, and then for students to be able to celebrate and share their learning with their peers all in one space. We don't have to do that extra step of curating. It's already done in the process of what we're trying to work on. And so finally, and then there's just some pictures of like what that ended up looking like. We do this, the kids visit the Chicago History Museum, and then they get to curate collections based on what they wanted to do a deep dive. So we learn a lot from these as well. But it's just so important to showcase. And again, Wakelet, making that class collection in the group is just, I would say, the first way to get started with that is to let the teacher create that collection that anyone can add in the class. And that's where you copy paste all the good stuff. So those of you that are from like an administrative point of view, or if you're a teacher and you're thinking, I would love to bring Wakelet back to my district, but I need to make it standards aligned. And I need to make sure that there's some background research to support what I'm doing. Our focus in Woodridge 68 is SEL, Common Core standards. We also look at the ISTE standards and Illinois computer literacy standards. And, you know, because that's not all that we could use, we also throw in SAMR. And so kind of look at this graphic and think of like what's most important to you in what you like to look at in terms of your foundation for making decisions with ed tech in your district. And again, if you want to just start somewhere, I'd say like look at it with an SEL lens. Look at it with building community in your district, in a grade level, or within any type of group that you'd like to start with. And then that's where I'd say take it from there, because really it's the first time we did this, we just, we weren't sure what was going to happen. And we found that after students were creating and sharing, that we were organically building such empathetic learners because they had that deep desire to connect and share and showcase their learning. And I think I've said enough. So that's it.
No, it's fantastic. And I think, you showed some really great examples of how the workspaces help contribute to, all of those abilities for students, for teachers, for groups to be made and kind of fluctuate all around. And I think that's where, I'll pick up right from where you left off there is the ability to have flexible grouping. We can roster Wakelet with, Clever, ClassLink, a bunch of different SSO options for, educators and districts, but being able to have that done and then say like, oh, I need to have another group and I need to pull just my social studies teachers. And with workspaces, I'm able to do that, right? Instead of doing much, I can go up here and click add groups. I can add an empty group. I can give it a title after I add the empty group. And then I can start, here I can go ahead and give it a title, Ryan's group. I can hit save. I can choose the features and set it up so it's the right way that I want to have it. If I want to allow AI image generation or not, I have that permission setting. Canva, Tenor, Unsplash, YouTube. I can change the image that goes along with it. But then I can start by inviting members to this group. So I can go right into my preloaded roster and see everybody that's been uploaded and linked to my district. So I can say, okay, I need Abby, I need Adele, I need Angie, I need Arlo. I'm going to invite these members. They're going to come into that group, and now they're going to be added. And I can quickly change, whether they're an editor or just a viewer. And I think that's super important, is to realize that schools, we've got, resource teachers, we've got officers, we've got secretaries, administrators, people who might not necessarily be tied to a classroom per se. And now you're able to create these groups, these workspaces for those educational accounts so that everybody has a place to curate and collaborate together. And that's, I know you've been making these groups because you can see it all of the time over there on the side. And again, the permissions, right? And being able to say that across those different levels of what it is that you want to share, we've built in strategically so that you can say that your younger students can just share with their classroom students, right? Their classroom members. Maybe they want to share a little bit broader. They want to share across their school that they're at and their location. Maybe they want to share across the organization. And in that case, it's like the school district, because maybe the seniors class advisor is the 6th grade teacher this year, right? And they need to be in a different location, but they still want to share materials and resources and collaborate. Or you open up for your seniors so that everyone they can share their collections out to college and career programs and everything. And we've just added a nobody option. And that allows, in case there are some groups of students out there who might be doing some not so nice things, we can make it so that they can just share directly to the teacher and themselves, right? They can't share to just their students. More things that Workspaces do that I know Tara touched on, again, is the idea of like student portfolios and what they're able to do. Teachers always should have oversight into what students are creating. It should just be like a no-brainer, is that we shouldn't just give them accounts and then not be able to see what they're doing. So our workspaces allow for that to happen. If I'm a teacher of a classroom, for this one, I'm a music appreciation teacher. Don't ask me how and why I picked this as my demo classroom, but this is me as music appreciation. I can dive into my roster, and instantly, if I click Steve, I can see what's in Steve's account, all of his collections, and I'm a co-editor, which means if I go into his portfolio and I'm seeing what he's building or not building, as Tara alluded to, right? Maybe I need to help persuade some things. I can leave feedback on projects. So I might be able to leave a voice note and say, hey, don't forget to add your certificate here. Or I could leave a video, right? I can upload and record my own video. I know we talked about videos before in portfolios, and I forget who it was that asked about it, but yeah, Sandy, with the video piece, like being able to go in and put video into a portfolio, I could do a creative writing project and then reflect on it instantly and record a video talking about whole writing process and what it felt like. And for someone who's not very good at writing, it might be easier for me to describe what my thinking and processes was.
Ooh, yeah.
Right before actually, if someone's looking at my writing sample, they might be like, this guy rates at like a 10th grade level. But if they hear my thinking and the prep work and the stuff involved, it really might help connect the loose ends around to everything.
You know, Ryan, I'll yes and that real quick. I'm a former ELA teacher in my other education life. And honestly, thinking of a world of AI and bringing this all together, like if you need it's not standards aligned, but if you need another reason why Wakelet will be vital to your curriculum and instruction, housing what Ryan said, like, here's my essay, but now here's my rationale for the changes I made, my process that I took, maybe all of the resources that I used in tandem of building this, maybe a screenshot of my interaction with my chatbot. I can't think of where else I would house all that other than in a Wakelet collection to keep everything in one space.
Yeah, again, it doesn't matter, right? Anything with a share link, so you could bring in that chatbot conversation. You could bring in all of these items and materials. Yeah, and talk about like the whole, why did you use it, or how did you use AI effectively, and not just the idea that someone's going to use it to write their essay. Like, no, it helped me revise this portion or helped me summarize this section where things were going in.
Yep.
The other piece that I just wanted to touch on too is the idea of being able to send assignments to students. We talked about the All About Me collections and a bunch of different things, that the examples that you showed. Workspaces allows for our activities feature to work. And that activities feature is really nice, where if I'm saying favorite songs at the moment, right? And this is just, again, goes with my music appreciation idea. If I'm sending this out as a scaffolded assignment where I want my students to contribute a collection, if I'm just using a different version of Wakelet, I might have to create this collection, send the share link to the students via their LMS. They have to make a copy, put it into their section, fill it out and add to it, and then send it back to me via link, right? And it's a lot. Here, I can build that collection. I can build that scaffold, say, add in your top 10 favorite songs. Who's your favorite artist and why? I click the activity button. I can give them some instructions, even though I missed the N key on my please fill in and return. And then it instantly goes to all of your students. And this is what they see, right? Your students get this instant view of all of the collections in that classroom for music appreciation. And they know when they have things that need to get done. They've got their collections. They can see all of that, kind of like what you said. But the ability for them to do their favorite songs at the moment, they see it started, but it's not submitted for review yet. So they know they need to get busy on these assignments. And I flip back to mine. It tells me out there on that collection that I have it still an active assignment, and 0 out of 1 people have turned this in yet. Right over here, I've got 1 of 1 turned in. So while I'm here in my teacher version, I can click that activity button and follow along with the students. I can see whether they've started the activity, if it's not been opened, or if it's been submitted for review. And again, that total oversight. Now I can click into Steve's work. He doesn't need to share it with me. I can see he added a song. So he added some Tom Grennan goodness in here. And then he didn't finish his work. So I added the comment. I'm like, please finish this by next week, giving them a spur of the moment. Like, you still have 9 songs to add and your favorite artist and why.
Yeah. Or what great, like it's an opportunity for guided instruction asynchronously, or whether you're in the room with the students to do it in like a safe manner of just, let me ask you a question to guide your thinking, or let me give you an example.
Yeah, and it goes back to that idea, like portfolios, right? Like we've got a portfolio course and everybody does portfolios a little bit different, but you could guide that. You could have that ability and say, like, okay, this is a really good portfolio for now. What are your next steps? And you can throw out ideas and suggestions, or attach a rubric in there and say, like, have you hit these pieces or points yet? Awesome. So yeah, we get all of these ideas. We got another question here. It says, what if another educator is new to the platform? How would they collaborate using a group?
Ooh. So it's, I would say from like the admin dashboard side, it's really easy for someone like in my role to go in, quickly add the new teacher as a member, get them connected to their associated groups. So I think, yeah, within Workspace, I just go ahead and find add groups or add member, and then put them where they need to go. Or if they're a teacher and they're creating, they're synced with our like ClassLink or Clever Sync, their classrooms will be pulled within like 24 hours, I want to say. Yeah. So then the next day they'd have everything they would need to contribute in the same type of workflow as their peers. But then I'd say, like, your first step is, I'd like you to introduce yourself to our staff. I want you to make an all about me collection. And your goal would be to use 4 different ways. I don't want to just see pictures. Like, I want to see 4 different ways of how you could share who you are.
Yeah, and it's the idea of amping up what you can do, right? The education plan and being able to bring this workspaces idea, it gives you so much more at your fingertips. It's not just making a collection and sharing it out. Now you're deeply involved. You have that ability to pull the analytics, set the permissions, have that total oversight, bring in all the features that aren't part of the normal or a base Wakelet account. But you've got all of that safety, security, and privacy practice so that your students are creating without fear and just able to showcase who they truly are as a student. Well, on the topic of that, we've got some really great ideas and offers, and this will come out later on into the collection that you'll get for the resources at the end of this webinar. But we're running 2 super awesome promos. One where you can get a classroom package for the remainder of the school year. You can get $199. We'll get you access for 2 teachers, 50-ish students. If you need a little bit more or need a little bit less, just let us know, and we'll customize that package for you. That is going to be in that resource collection later on. And then for anybody who's looking for piloting, whether you're an admin who's sitting out there and saying, like, I'd really enjoy trying to get, portfolios off the ground, or I want to see a group of teachers collaborate and share resources just like Tara just showed. I want to get my PLC group up and running, or my curriculum team sharing those resources. We have some pilots that are available as well. So that offer will be in here. Both of those offers are available inside of the resource collection. So we we'll be able to get that out to you with your certificate link and everything else that is coming right there in the collection that was just put out. Awesome. Tara, how do you think? You've obviously been using Workspaces for a while now.
I was like, give me another hour. Let's keep talking.
How has it simplified your workflow?
Oh man. So I love it from an ed tech coach perspective of just being able to support teachers in a way that's like not only dynamic, but it shows like attend to care. I can go into their classroom and see like anything, or sorry, in their group and see how they're doing with like Wakelet portfolios. And what's nice is then I like go visit the teacher our next meeting. I'm like, I love Peyton's resume she made in your collection. Like, and I always say like, thank you for doing that for your students. And so they know I'm watching, but they also appreciate that it's going well and that they're, it's great when things work, right? So I think that it's also helped my workflow and made my life easier, just being able to quickly go through my workspace, click on groups or click on impersonate a teacher and just see like if they need a collection made or if they're out for a few days or they're on maternity leave, we could still maintain all the good work we've been doing just by being able to like pop in a collection for an activity or something that they need as a resource. I also love that it stays with the teacher year after year. And so we can be like, hey, remember that text that we made? We don't have to do that again. It's ready. So that alone makes life easier for everybody.
Yeah, and I put my old administrator hat on. Like I ran an elementary school for 2 years, and I'm thinking like how much easier it would have been for all of my subgroups, my PLCs, my parent groups, board meetings, just being able to put everything into a collection and share them out, newsletters, and being able to manage all of that from that workspace area. That's just
your conferences are done. They're done.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. And I'm really excited. So I'm hoping that more of you take advantage and look deeper into the Wakelet Workspaces, look at the EDU plan, see what we can do to, bring this and refine it to your organization and district so that you too can experience the same ease now of collaborating and working with students that Tara gets to experience.
Highly recommend, y'all. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Well, as always, please make sure to fill out the form so you get your certificate link, get those resources. As always, make sure you follow Tara. Her socials right there. I am Ryan McG Tech at Ryan Wakelet. Please feel free to reach out to us for anything else. And thank you for joining us for this awesome webinar. Tara, you were fantastic. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day and stay safe.